Drivers, start your engines. Pull those belts down tight one more time, warm up those tires, hit your marks, and let's go racing, boys and girls. NASCAR, Indycar, Formula One, Formula E, and NHRA Racing Talk. This is the Championship Racing Network. Now here is your hosts, Steve West and Matt Nicholson, with producer John Myers.
Hey, welcome into the weekend here where NASCAR's in Richmond. Want to know how we know oh so well so early? We're going to be shortened because of our flagship station in East Central Alabama, 95.1 The Mountain. Going to, I think it's Truck Series qualifying.
Cup.
It's a Cup qualifying.
Cup. Yeah, Trucks is off this week.
At what would be 10:30 a.m. Eastern time, but it'll be 9:30 a.m. Central time, which is where we are, God's time.
Yep.
And that means we're going to go to them early. But that means we'll also have a longer after-show show.
For the first time ever, we're not shortened by football.
That's true. We're shortened by actually racing, which fits because this is the Championship Racing Network.
For the best lead-in ever.
Yeah, really. Welcome in. Appreciate you joining us. I'm Steve West, Matt Nicholson, producer John Myers here. Since we have a shortened period of time, let's get right into this, shall we? Quick review of last weekend. Kyle Busch, Alex Bowman, Stuart Friesen battling it out in the Camping World Truck Series last Saturday. This is where Zane Smith saw his chance. He drove underneath him, grabbed the lead, and was able to roll away from John Hunter Nemechek, beat him to the finish line by over 3.5 seconds. Kyle Busch ended up being third, Ben Rhodes fourth, Chandler Smith fifth, Christian Eckes, Tyler Ankrum, Stuart Friesen, Grant Enfinger rounding out the top 10. Alex Bowman got the worst out of that. He spun in that three-wide battle. He ended up finishing 27th.
Yeah, he got the raw end of the deal for sure.
Yeah,
that's what you call making an ill-timed move.
Yeah, that's about the easiest way to put it, truth be told.
Very ill-timed.
That took 2 overtimes. It took another 2 overtimes to settle the second race of the day at COTA, the Xfinity Series. The winner, one of the most accomplished road course racers in that division, that's A.J. Allmendinger. He survived both restarts, claims the win by over 2 seconds. Austin Hill settles for second, trailed by Moonlighter Cole Custer. Rest of your top 10, Noah Gragson, Sam Mayer, who's impressing. Then you got Myatt Snyder, Brett Moffitt, Jade Buford in there, Miguel Paludo in there, a couple of road course ringers. Sheldon Creed make up your top 10. Ty Gibbs has 2 wins to lead the playoff push there in the Xfinity Series. They didn't really deal with that in the Truck Series, did we? I guess we ought to talk about that. Zane Smith, a 2-time winner in the Truck Series, joined in the playoffs by Chandler Smith and Ben Rhodes. Those are then joined by the non-winners in the 10, Stuart Friesen, Tanner Gray, Christian Eckes, Ty Majeski, John Hunter Nemechek, Tyler Ankrum, and Derek Kraus. You got bigger names like Matt Crafton, Austin Self, Grant Enfinger, Matt DiBenedetto that are still fighting to get into the top 10.
Yep.
Still kind of a surprise, man. Matt Crafton's been kind of uneven
very
to start the year. I think
that's the best word to say it.
Yeah, very uneven to start the year. Let's see what else we can get ourselves into. Let's get back into the points when it comes to the Xfinity Series. Ty Gibbs in there with 2 wins, leading the playoff push there. Other winners so far this year, Noah Gragson, A.J. Allmendinger, and Austin Hill. The non-winners in the 12 right now start with Justin Allgaier, Josh Berry, Brandon Jones, Daniel Hemrick, Sam Mayer, Ryan Sieg, Sheldon Creed, Riley Erbst. Names that you would recognize that are on the outside looking in right now: Landon Castle, Brett Moffitt, Jeb Burton. Most of your bigger names are actually inside the top 12.
Yep. So far.
That's well said.
So far.
Sunday begins with Formula One running a night race in Saudi Arabia. Ran first on Sunday here in the United States. Charles Leclerc and his Ferrari got out front, began a battle with Red Bull and Max Verstappen that lasted throughout the race, back and forth pretty much. Verstappen kind of seemed happy for the most part to be behind Leclerc for the most part. But as you got to within 10 laps of the finish or so, things started to heat up. How often have we seen that in NASCAR? Well, we're seeing it in Formula One now, yeah. So back and forth they went. They even traded the lead on a few occasions, but it ended up being Max Verstappen. He took the lead on lap 47 of 50, was able to keep Leclerc behind him for the final 2.5 laps, wrapped everything up. Leclerc and Sainz and their Ferraris second and third, so that's the second straight race so far this year that double Ferraris on the podium. Nice start for the year by them.
Oh, yeah.
Sergio Perez fourth, George Russell in his Mercedes in fifth, outperforming his Mercedes teammate. That's that guy that's won 7 titles. We'll get back to him. Esteban Ocon 6th, Lando Norris 7th, Pierre Gasly. Kevin Magnussen is in his Haas F1 9th, and there sits Sir Lewis Hamilton in 10th. As good of a start that Ferrari has had this year, Mercedes, most specifically Lewis Hamilton, has had a lackluster. Not horrible. He scored points, but it is not what we would usually expect out of Lewis Hamilton.
It's been extremely lackluster, but when he finishes in 10th and he asked who was it? It wasn't Toto Wolff, it was Bono. He came over the radio and said, "All right, Lewis, P10, great job." Do they even score points for that position? It's been a while since he's been down there.
Yeah, it has.
Yeah.
Let's see here. This brings us to the points. A win and a second place have Charles Leclerc in your points lead. Got 45 points. Carlos Sainz has 33. Max Verstappen's got 25. George Russell with 22. Who would have thought this top four? Sainz, Verstappen, Russell, with Leclerc leading.
Honestly, I didn't have that.
I might have had Verstappen in there, but I would have had him leading the points, not Charles Leclerc. Lewis Hamilton is 5th with 16 points. Esteban Ocon 6th with 14. Got a tie between Sergio Perez and Kevin Magnussen at 12 each. And then Valtteri Bottas in there. He's got 9th. He's got 9th with 9. Lando Norris sits in 10 with 6th. Then you got two twin podium finishes to begin the season has Ferrari out front in the Constructors' Cup standings. This is a dream scenario for them. They're up over Mercedes in second place, 78-38.
Yeah.
I get the funny feeling that's going to change, though. Red Bull's 3rd with 37, Alpine 16. Haas F1's got 12, all of them so far scored by Kevin Magnussen. Then you got Alfa Romeo with 9, 8 for AlphaTauri. McLaren's got 6, and double zeros so far posted by Aston Martin. They were thinking they were going to be battling for 4th, maybe 3rd this year, and they have started off with 2 zeros in the first 2 races.
Yeah, they're literally behind the 8 ball in a big way.
Yeah, Williams, 0. Then you got the Cup Series. They ran on Sunday. Several questions were outstanding there. First, would they go to double overtime like both of Saturday's NASCAR races had? Second, would another 20-something win again? Oh, and by the way, would we get another first-time winner? All of those questions were answered like this. The first, no, it only took 1 overtime. The other 2 questions, yes, but it took a lot of beating and banging to get there. Final lap, remember, we're on a 20-turn over 3.5 mile long road course featuring 4 lead changes. The final lead change came when Ross Chastain, A.J. Allmendinger, and Alex Bowman got to battling kind of side by side through the final turns of that last lap. Chastain got A.J. loose, needless to say. Allmendinger bumps into Bowman, slowing both. It allowed Chastain to get the lead, claim the win. Bowman saves his car. He finishes 2nd, trails by Christopher Bell, 3rd, Chase Elliott 4th, Tyler Reddick in 5th, and Ryan Blaney, Martin Truex Jr., Austin Cindric, Eric Jones, and Austin Dillon. A.J. Allmendinger couldn't recover his car. He ended up being credited with a 33rd place finish, and he was interviewed post-race when coming out of the infield care center after his car hit the wall. He couldn't make it to the finish line. We'll get back to that. There are a lot of people out there that are saying this is a dirty move.
No.
I agree with you, but being the resident driver, let's get the driver's point of view as to why this wasn't a dirty move.
It kind of falls back on the golden rule or the golden saying of all is fair in love and war.
And wins.
Well, all is fair in love and racing.
There you go.
I've said it on this very show behind these mics before. When you're sitting in a seat, you know when a move is intentional and you know when a move is unintentional. Because what's sitting in that seat, better known as your rear end, tells you what's intentional, what's unintentional. And it'll tell you in a hurry.
Yeah.
So did they rub a bit?
A little bit.
That was a little more than a rub.
It was a push.
That was what you call sending it.
Yeah.
Well, rubbing's racing.
That's what they say.
That's what
Exactly.
They say.
I mean, it's would you have expected any less on either a road course or a short track?
Especially for a guy, and I get it. A.J. Allmendinger is every bit as hungry as Ross Chastain, but A.J. Allmendinger has won at the Cup Series level. Alex Bowman has won at the Cup Series level. Ross Chastain is one of those guys who, and we've talked about him now for a couple of years.
Yeah.
We've said this before. I think we said this a couple of years ago when he really kind of started to burst onto the scene. Him getting a win in the Cup Series was a matter not of if, but when.
Right.
And he's been close enough on so many occasions that in this particular situation, he knew he had the car. Earlier in that lap, he got moved aside. He found the opportunity to return the favor, and he goes and gets the win.
And it's one of them saying is anything you can do, I can do better. Well,
There you go.
There you go on that part.
So here we go. 6 races into the Cup Series, 6 different winners, all of them in their 20s. You wanted a youth movement in NASCAR. Here it is. 6 wins, 6 different drivers, all of them in their 20s in the Cup Series. First ever win also for Trackhouse Racing, so congratulations to them. Alex Bowman, though, leads amongst the winners in the playoffs at this time. Ross Chastain is actually your second seed. William Byron third, Chase Briscoe fourth, Austin Cindric and Kyle Larson. Those are all of the ones that are locked into the playoffs. The rest of the 16 that are in the playoffs right now, Chase Elliott, Ryan Blaney, Joey Logano, Martin Truex Jr., Eric Almirola, Tyler Reddick, Kyle, then Kurt Busch. Yeah, they're back together again. Kevin Harvick and Daniel Suarez. Some names on the outside that you'd recognize looking in. Eric Jones, Bubba Wallace, Denny Hamlin. That one still surprises me. And Christopher Bell. Denny Hamlin has had a worse start to his year than Lewis Hamilton has.
Uh-huh.
We're just going to leave that at that.
There you go.
Slate of races for this weekend starts this afternoon in Virginia. Yes, we will get cut short on the show by qualifying for the Cup Series. That's qualifying. Later today, Xfinity Series getting in the Toyota Care 250. Fox Sports 1 and MRN Radio have your coverage, 1:30 p.m. Eastern, 12:30 p.m. Central Time. Cup Series takes to Richmond Raceway tomorrow to run the Toyota Owners 400 on the 3/4-mile D-shaped oval. Fox and MRN Radio coverage begins 3:30 p.m. Eastern, 2:30 p.m. Central Time. And then finally, on a delayed basis, the NHRA will get in the NHRA 4-wide Nationals at the drag strip at Las Vegas Motor Speedway Complex. Again, airing on a delayed basis, I think, on Fox Sports 1, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central Time. Can't remember whether are they Mountain Time or are they Pacific?
Vegas is Pacific.
So that'd be 4 p.m.
They're
Pacific
right on
time.
They're right on the edge of the Pacific Mountain Line.
I'm gonna hedge my bet here. This may not be delayed. This could be live.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Could be.
I don't know that 100%. Camping World Truck Series, Formula E, NTT Data IndyCar Series, and Formula One, they're all off this weekend.
There's a quick side note I want to throw out about the car that Ross Chastain won with.
Okay.
Tuesday, there was a big media event at Trackhouse Racing, just getting together after their win, going through everything, and I'm pretty sure it was Alex Andrahoff of NASCAR.com put on her Twitter feed. They was going through a thread. They'd already gotten Ross Chastain's car in, and this right here explains the versatility of these new cars,
right.
What they defined for the versatility of it. They was already doing the tear down, refurbish, standard process that they do. And it was stated where that car that Ross Chastain won with is going to run next.
Oh.
Talladega.
Ah-ha-ha. Okay, then. This ought to be interesting, then.
So, very rare do you see a road course car like, hey, we're taking our road course car to Talladega, of all places.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see that particular situation here. Real quick, want to take a moment here to let you know about, say, one of our great sponsors that helps you bring portions of this show, talking about Michael Hart and our friends at Ox Foundation Solutions. These are the guys that you need to talk to, especially after the last couple of weeks that we had. Last week we were talking about on the show how we had some really strong storms move through Alabama. Hey, guess what happened again this week? Some really strong storms move through the state of Alabama. This is what you're going to get spring and summertime in Alabama. And what can that do? Well, it can really upset the foundation of your house. Get it checked out. Make sure that everything's okay with a no cost to you, no obligation to you written foundation assessment by Michael Hart at Ox Foundation Solutions. Give him a call or send him an email. Set up the appointment, 205-362-6419, or email him mike@oxfoundations.com. Set up the time. He'll come in. Again, no cost to you, no obligation to you, and give you a written foundation assessment if you're anywhere in the state of Alabama. Doesn't matter where it is. Anywhere, literally. He'll go, check it out, and make sure. Because if you've got a problem, It ain't going to fix itself. It's only going to get worse. The longer you wait to get it fixed, the more expensive it costs.
Absolutely.
So don't wait. Go ahead and get it checked out. And when he's done, all three of us will vouch for Michael. If there's nothing wrong with the house, he'll write down there's nothing wrong with the house, and he'll give you that paper, and you've got peace of mind. If there is something wrong, he's got it detailed with the estimate of how much it's going to cost to get it fixed. Now, here's the fun part. We can give you money off of that estimate. Tell him you heard about it right here on CRN. Mention the promo code WEST, 15% off that total. No cost, no obligation, written foundation assessment, and 15% off because you heard about it right here on CRN. You got nothing to lose. 205-362-6419 or Mike at oxfoundations.com. Don't forget, tell him you heard about it right here on CRN. At the suggestion of our producer, John Myers, we have been known to switch around the series that we lead off with, depending on what we feel like might be the biggest story of any particular week.
Yeah, I have some good ideas now and then.
Yeah, you do.
Uh-huh.
Well, Formula One ended up being it, based on two things. Number one, we talked about this last weekend on the show about the Saudi Arabian government opposition group that had attacked and set fire to the Aramco oil depot. It's about 6 miles away from the Jeddah road course that Formula One ended up racing on last weekend. We talked about how it concerned the drivers who, as it turns out, we found out later, had actually, all 20 of them, considered boycotting that race before they were assured that security was beefed up for the race to try and do their level best to make sure that it ran without incident. As it turned out, it did.
Yeah.
Despite both F1 and Saudi officials calming the drivers enough to actually get the race in, some of the drivers were very vocal, not only on Saturday, but on Sunday, about wanting to revisit the idea about whether racing in Saudi Arabia was in Formula One's best interest long-term.
Uh-huh.
And remember, they got a long-term contract.
Yeah.
Ferrari driver Charles Leclerc, your points leader, said, quote, "I don't want to go too much into details on the subject now, but it's definitely a discussion that we should all have after this race. Once everything calms down, we'll look back at it, and then we'll see." His Ferrari teammate Carlos Sainz added, quote, "I agree. I think there needs to be discussions after this race. Clearly, what has happened in the last 24 hours is definitely a point of discussion and consideration that we need to take going into the future." Mercedes driver George Russell chimed in. Obviously, there's going to need to be some clarity after this race weekend. See where we go from here. Alfa Romeo's driver Valtteri Bottas, the guy who was unseated by George Russell, said on Saturday, quote, "So we're already here. Let's finish the race. They've increased the security and their defense system, so everyone agreed we might as well do the race and hope for the best."
Thank you, Valtteri Bottas.
Shot of confidence there. Daniel Ricciardo of McLaren then said this, quote, "I think that it's something we have to, let's say, keep assessing." Formula One boss Stefano Domenicali was asked about the driver's comments after qualifying. He said, quote, "It's a matter of understanding the situation for sure. We're not blind, but we don't have to forget one thing. This country, it is also true that Formula One and the sport, we believe, is doing a massive step forward. You can't pretend to change culture that is a millennium old in a blink of an eye. With the resources they're moving into place to move forward, you could see it here. Women couldn't drive a couple of years ago. They're achieving it. They're changing a lot of laws to make sure that this is happening." And then Domenicali concluded, quote, "Of course, there is tension, things to improve. We don't want to be political on that, but we do believe that we are playing a very important role in the modernization of this country. We're focusing on making sure this is at the center of our agenda." And then given a couple of days separation, he said later on in the week, Wednesday or Thursday, I can't remember which, he said that it feels that it is actually Formula One's duty to continue to race in Saudi Arabia despite some safety concerns or even the country's bad human rights record, in order to try to assist in changing the culture there, shedding some light on it, basically, is what he means. He said this, quote, "As we discussed, the country has its own problems to grow, and sport, Formula One in general, has the duty to make sure that it is maximizing attention on what is happening and taking it in the right direction. We don't want to do politics in Formula One, but for sure, I do believe that the sport will help the country that wants to change its culture. Cannot happen from day to night. It is very important as a change, though. As Formula One, we need to do our duty," he keeps saying that, "to make sure that we do something of such importance as can happen, and that's why we stay there. That's why we do believe that working together, we can shape a better future in a faster time." And this is, let's just say, a financial interest to Formula One as well.
Yeah.
Formula One has a 15-year contract to race in Saudi Arabia. While we don't have the details on this, reportedly, that 15-year contract is worth some $65 million annually to Formula One, not to mention the Aramco oil sponsorship, which adds another, give or take $40 million annually to that sponsorship deal.
That's 105 if my math is right.
Uh-huh.
Yes,
What
sir.
happens
For
if
15 years.
My question is, what happens if F1 decides not to race in Saudi Arabia?
Money lost.
Money lost,
Well,
big
yeah,
time.
but is there fines for breaking the
No,
contract?
because Formula One can break the contract anytime they want. I would imagine most of the contracts state that Formula One can end the contract without penalty to them. I haven't seen one, but I would imagine that's probably the case.
Yeah. More than likely.
And then there is, we hope, better news about races. We did get confirmation of one that we mentioned that probably was going to hit real soon, that Las Vegas would be hosting a Formula One race in 2023, possibly happening on our Thanksgiving weekend. That has yet to be confirmed. But the course was revealed on Wednesday. We do know that it will happen in November of 2023, but Formula One has yet to give an exact date or an exact race start time. But there is talk about it being a Saturday night race here in the United States. Could be as late as 10 o'clock start Eastern time here in the United States.
Bring on the lights, baby.
Oh, yeah. That said, as we mentioned, the course layout was revealed. You get to see this if you're watching on our YouTube feed. Go onto YouTube, look up CRN Live. You'll see the layout of the course. It will utilize a stretch of the famed Las Vegas Strip. The course itself, as it is currently set up, whether or not they tweak it, I don't know, checks in at 3.8 miles long, 14 turns, takes the racers on the strip past Caesar's Palace, the Bellagio and its noted fountains, Mandalay Bay, some other well-known casinos, including one that's under construction, something called the MSG Sphere. So get this. From 2011, when we did not have a race from Formula One here in the United States,
11 years ago,
we now have 3 as officially as of next year, 12 years. We went from, COTA 2012 debuted. This year, we have Miami. And next year, we debut Vegas. And all 3 are planned to be on the schedule for next year. That's right, 3 U.S.-based races. And Formula One still seems to think that there could be a 4th because they still keep talking about this desire to race somewhere in and around New York City.
So are they waking up to the fact that there's a bunch of F1 fans in the U.S.?
They're starting to realize exactly how popular Formula One is becoming. I don't know as we've reached a ceiling here.
No. I don't think so.
But at the same point in time, you still got to understand the monster is what it is. When it comes to motorsports here in the United States, it's still NASCAR.
Yeah.
But Formula One realizes, hey, we've got a group of people in the United States that really want to check us out. Witness 400,000 people turning through the gates at COTA last year. Mm-hmm. Let's take advantage of it. And they are.
Yeah. But this would be an appropriate time, I feel like, if we had the bed music for Lindsey Buckingham singing Holiday Road.
Yeah, not going to happen.
Yeah, because I feel like this is Vegas Vacation 2 CRN edition.
Yeah, I would like to do it, to be real honest with you. And given a year and a half, we might be able to make something work.
Because that stretch from 9, 10 down to 11 is going to be stupid fast.
You're right. How fast? Well, we noted it, 3.8 miles long, on city streets, 14 turns. But as it's revealed, and again, if you want to look at it, CRN Live, he's going to put it back up. Long straights, or a turn 10 that is really more curve than turn. Simulations, yeah, they've already run them, have the racers hitting top speeds of 212 miles per hour, similar to Monza, which is currently the fastest course on the Formula One schedule. They're stating should be about a 50-lap race. Vegas officials, by the way, have also said that they plan to repave the entirety of the planned course because they want to make sure that the track is as smooth as can possibly be for this race.
You'd hope so.
Yeah, that curve that we're talking about does include the Vegas Strip.
Yeah.
And that's where we're talking about them hitting as much as 212 miles per hour.
Yeah, it's the strip that appears to be in front of Caesar's Palace.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, where they used to race, in the parking lot.
Yeah, down by the Eiffel. Yeah, down by where the Eiffel Tower is.
Yeah.
But I think I'm going to check on rates for a room of Caesar's Palace where the balconies are and just sit on the balcony and just watch them come off in 9, 10, and 11 and go straight across.
I like your thinking. We'll have to maybe see if we can't go in on that.
But the start-finish line placement is weird.
It is. I agree.
Very weird because you got.
It's not on the Vegas Strip, by the way, just to let you know. Again, I don't know whether this is finalized. There may be tweaks to this. We'll keep an eye on it. But as it sits right now, yeah, this is going to be a fast race, and it may be actually quite entertaining.
Yeah, I mean, from 14 down to 1, that's going to be an awfully short little shoot right there, just going from now down from 12, 13, and 14 is going to be pretty quick.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
It still will be quick, but
and we haven't seen exactly where they're going to put pit road yet.
If looking at this diagram of where the layout is,
mm-hmm.
the paddock and pit road area is probably going to be, I'd say, in the giant parking lot of where the high rise is on the far right hand side.
Okay. Again, we'll
not far from where the Ferris wheel is.
We'll be looking for more details on this as time comes along. We'll let you know as soon as we know.
Yeah.
The drivers seem actually quite excited about this. The drivers were asked about their thoughts about it the day that it was released. They were given a card that showed them the layout of this. Valtteri Bottas simply looked at it and said, that's epic. Lewis Hamilton proclaimed it hardcore. George Russell said, quote, that's amazing. Oh, that's going to be awesome. Mick Schumacher seemed about as thrilled about gambling as the race itself with his Haas F1 teammate. Kevin Magnussen noting it's going to be a party. Well, Lewis Hamilton went back. He picked up on the party set. He said, knowing that it's a real party city, it's going to be difficult for a racing driver to, how are we going to focus that weekend? There's going to be a whole lot going on. Max Verstappen said, let's not do back-to-back for this one. Let's give it like 2 weeks break before and after. And then here was the one that really I thought was a very interesting comment. Daniel Ricciardo teased this, quote, I was going to retire. I will not know more.
Mm.
All right, then.
Sounds like he wants to go to Vegas.
That does appear.
Ooh. Ooh.
And here's the flip side of this. Now, think about this. This is going to be one of those opportunities, Las Vegas. Honestly, kind of like Monaco. Monaco runs on a street course.
Yeah.
And you got all these buildings and all these abilities for the fans to have all kinds of different ways of watching this race, right? That brought up the attention of McLaren CEO Zach Brown. Zach Brown, knowing some of these newer offerings, Las Vegas specifically, he called out most likely the most prestigious race in Formula One, Monaco. Monaco's been on the Formula One calendar every year except for 2020 due to COVID. But Brown seems to think that Monaco might need to step things up a little bit. He thinks things with the Monaco Grand Prix might be getting a bit stale. Ooh, this is a big call out. Talked to the Reuters news agency, European news agency, kind of equivalent to the Associated Press, and said this, quote, Monaco always stood for the most glamorous part of Formula One. I think Miami, Singapore, and Las Vegas are all starting to add some pretty glamorous markets.
He's not wrong.
And then there's this. Most people probably didn't know this. He noted Monaco doesn't actually pay a race hosting fee. And in recent years, he said they've been a little bit more than a high-speed procession of the racers with very little passing. He said, quote, I think Monaco needs to come up to the same commercial terms as the other Grand Prix races. Maybe also needs to work on ways that they can adapt their track because as our cars have become bigger, the racing has become more difficult.
He's not wrong.
No, he's not.
And then something I saw yesterday as well. After this year, as of now, Monaco has not renewed a contract with F1.
No, they haven't. They're crown jewels in every single racing series. For NASCAR, it's Daytona. For Indycar, obviously, it's Indianapolis. If you're in sports car racing, it is the 24 Hours Le Mans. No disrespect to the 24 Hours of Daytona. 24 Hours Le Mans just it has that panache.
Yep.
Okay. In the NHRA, it's the U.S. Nationals at Indianapolis. In Formula One, it's been Monaco.
Yep.
For a very long time. You know, it doesn't matter that Britain was the first ever considered to be first ever sanctioned Formula One race. It doesn't matter wherever else that they've been in the world. You could go to some really glamorous spots. Monaco has always been that high prestige race within Formula One. It'd be weird not to have it there. It'd be like saying NASCAR didn't start off at Daytona. And I know that they haven't always, but we've gotten used to them being the kickoff of the year, the Daytona 500.
Right.
It'd be weird to say that. It'd be weird not to have the Indy 500 on Memorial Day weekend, just like it would be odd not to have the Coca-Cola 600 on Memorial Day weekend. But Monaco, Zach Brown's right.
Yeah, he's right. He's spot on.
Okay. I mean, it's not just a fact of watching Formula One races there. You know, I've enjoyed the show, BBC. I'm going to go ahead and give them a plug, even though they're not advertisers. BBC America has shown here in the United States Top Gear. And, of course, the more famous one is back when Jeremy Clarkson and James May and Richard Hammond were the hosts. And at one point in time, they did a kind of a trip, and they ended up in Monaco. And they were able to, a couple of weeks before the race actually happened, they were allowed to go out and they were able to run on the Monaco course.
Yeah.
In their regular cars. And even then you could tell cars are getting a little wider in general terms, even in Europe, which loves small cars. And you could tell it was a little tight in some sections there. And Formula One cars, Zach Brown has noted, have gotten wider. And over the course of that time, there are areas you can't do side by side.
No.
So, yeah, he's right. It becomes processional.
Yeah.
And I don't care how high speed it is. It becomes processional. Kind of boring, truth be told. You know, you're waiting for the action, but where's that action going to come? It only comes really in a certain couple of areas.
Right.
So, yeah, they're going to have to figure it out. They're going to have to work it out, trying to figure out what's going on there and see if they can't get it fixed. But that's their situation. Monaco's got to figure this out. If Monaco can't get their contract situation reset, though, that's going to be a massive loss.
It will be a big loss, but I could see an event like, let's say, you really can't say any of the U.S.-based races yet.
Not yet. Vegas has the opportunity.
Miami has the opportunity.
And Miami has the opportunity. My biggest problem with Miami, though, is I think the fact that they're running a course in the parking lot of a football stadium.
Yeah.
It's the scenery that is included with Monaco that makes it such an event in a lot of ways. It's not just right. The race, it's where it's set. Being able to go through and right down the Las Vegas Strip in some of the most famed casinos and resorts that are there, I think that has the bigger chance, truth be told.
But current day chance, if Monaco happens to drop off, I could see a track like Abu Dhabi being the crown jewel.
I could see that as well. Absolutely. But it'd be so weird.
It really would.
It really would. John, I'm going to ask you to check on this because we have gotten word that our friend here from 95.1 The Mountain, Grady Sapp, is out at Talladega Superspeedway. And you're thinking, it's not race weekend. Race weekend's in Richmond, right? Well, yeah, you are right. But there are things going on at Talladega Superspeedway that you want to know about. And it's one of those charitable situations where you get to take your car out on Talladega Superspeedway. Mm-hmm. So let's check and let's see if Mr. Grady Sapp is available right now. Grady, can you hear us?
I can indeed, and I'm live here at Talladega Superspeedway this morning, guys, because it's Track Laps for Charity that's going on today. All the proceeds for the laps around the track will go to the Girls and Boys Clubs of Central Alabama, which is a very worthy cause. So
Yes, it is.
Here's the setup. Basically, you can come out to Talladega today, and you can pay a $50 donation that'll go to the Girls and Boys Clubs, and you can drive your vehicle at interstate speed around this 2.66-mile Talladega Superspeedway. And listen, if you've never done it, you guys have done it, I've done it. It is phenomenal to be able to get out there and see the track from that perspective. That's a lot of fun.
Yep.
Also, they're going to have the Talladega Garage Experience open today. It's an open house. Big Bill's will be open. They'll have the kids zone and the play zones are going to be open. You can get your picture taken in Ruhoff Mortgage Victory Lane next to the iconic Vulcan Trophy. All of that activity is going on out here at Talladega this morning until early afternoon. They'll get it cranked up at 9 o'clock when I came in a few minutes ago. Cars outside ready to roll in here and start taking laps around the track. And, of course, open house and all that going on at the same time. So it'll be from 9 till 1. So if you want to come out and enjoy some fun activity on a Saturday morning and Saturday afternoon, I would say this is the place to be, guys.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely, yeah. Like you said, we've all done it. It is such a fun thing to do, and it's somewhat counterintuitive because if you're going at 70, 75 miles per hour, you're turning left going through turns 1 and 2 or 3 and 4. But at that speed, you're actually turning your wheel a little bit to the right because gravity wants to pull you down that 33-degree banking.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm just trying to figure out if I can get the mountain truck on here.
I got faith in you. I bet you can. We have connections. I know you know a guy.
The best thing of all this, it all goes to charity.
It does. Yeah. Yeah. Central Alabama, East Central Alabama, Boys and Girls Clubs. Go ahead and do this 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. And Grady, we're going to check back with you here in just a little bit and find out a little bit more. Like, did you get the mountain truck out there onto the track?
Sounds good, guys. I'll talk to you shortly.
Normally 20 cars start a Formula One race, right? Well, 18 actually only started last weekend's Formula One race.
What happened to the other two?
Well, we found out that Yuki Tsunoda, last year's rookie, had some powertrain issues, so they got him out onto the grid, but unfortunately the car did not respond, so pulled him off. But that means that there were only 19 cars on the grid. What happened to the other guy? Well, the other guy that was missing is Haas F1's Mick Schumacher. Seems that during qualifying, Mick Schumacher hit a curb, and it caused him to lose control, slammed a retaining wall, the car damaged beyond repair. So despite the fact that Mick Schumacher, he was a little bit dazed and probably sore, but he wasn't actually hurt during the crash, but they had no car for him to drive, so they pulled him.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but are these cars not designed to like just disintegrate when they hit a wall?
Yes. Because you want to dissipate the energy, and this car disintegrated. Big time.
Yeah, it did disintegrate, but just the damage was so heavy that they couldn't have repaired it effectively in time.
Now, team principal Gunther Steiner said, quote, the chassis in itself doesn't seem to be broken. The side impact structure, the engine, I was told from Ferrari, seems to be okay. Battery pack as well. And then all the rest is broken. I think the cost is still pretty high because the suspension is gone, basically except for the left front. So how much could this cost Haas F1? Well, Gunther Steiner kind of estimated it, said that the total bill could end up in the neighborhood of $1 million. He added that the team will be ready either way for the next race, which is next weekend, the Australian Grand Prix. Added that their first 2022 upgrade will be implemented before they get down under.
So just 7 figures is all?
Yes. $1 million in damage in a qualifying wreck.
I think that's what hurts the most. It was qualifying.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, Mick Schumacher came out, and even though he hasn't scored points, you got to remember, he just missed points in the season opener in Abu Dhabi. He was 11th.
Yeah, by a fraction.
Yeah, and had things just kind of changed just a little bit, he could easily made into the top 10.
Oh, no doubt.
It's not like he's had a bad start to the year. This was not a good thing, but that car is good, as witnessed by Kevin Magnussen.
Oh, yeah.
And they're going to put an upgrade in before they get to Australia next weekend.
Oh, if they score double points, it's going
to be on.
Oh,
It's going to be on. And what Valtteri Bottas said after the Abu Dhabi race, that they're now chasing Haas F1, might become true. It's going to be the fun part to watch.
Yep.
Speaking of down under, needing an upgrade, is Aston Martin. Well, the upgrade's not going to come with the car. It's going to come with who's driving the car. They're going to get their primary driver in Sebastian Vettel back. Vettel missed the first 2 races of the year, had a positive COVID diagnosis, but he's now cleared by the doctors, which works for the notable closed-off Australian government. So he'll be back in his seat. Nico Hülkenberg sat in for Vettel for the first 2 races, finished 17th and 12th, respectively. And while the company is not commenting either way, reports have insiders within the company stating that in a meeting this coming week, Volkswagen will give 2 of their sub-brands, notably Porsche and Audi, the go-ahead to become brand names within Formula One. First report on this came from Business Insider magazine. They quoted their source, again unnamed, as saying this, quote, "We will hopefully be able to communicate our intention to enter into Formula One." This does back up some reports that Audi and McLaren have already formed the basis of a partnership with further discussions to take place later this season. Reports that say that officials from both brands are right now denying it, but we'll see. One source claimed Audi is set to offer some, get this, €500 million for
That's
McLaren.
to be.
That's somewhere in the neighborhood of 565 to 575 million American dollars, just to let you know. One source claimed that Audi, again, looking to get into basically not just a cooperative or sponsorship deal, maybe getting into partnering on the ownership of McLaren. We'll see. Porsche is more likely to be known as a new engine provider. Word has them working with Red Bull.
Shocker.
Yeah, time will tell.
The euro to dollar, sir, is exactly $552,650,000 US dollars.
Well, there you go. Ouch. All right. Let's go to the Cup Series. Let's head back to COTA. Last weekend, aftermath of the battle that garnered Ross Chastain that first Cup Series win. We talked about it during the race recap, denying A.J. Allmendinger a win at COTA. He actually crashed out in the final turns of that final lap. Chastain seemed to recognize the situation here and their friendship. He said of A.J. Allmendinger, quote, "He is so good. I've learned so much from him. It's like, how do you beat the guy? He taught me so much. I feel bad. He's going to be upset with me. But we raced hard. He owes me one."
Yeah, he'll get him. He'll get him eventually, but it's not going to be in the way to where he just deliberately trashes the car.
I don't think so, no.
I mean,
Chastain then added this, quote, "I've cost AJ a win at Daytona in the Xfinity Series. He was obviously a quarter mile away from winning here. He's taught me a lot. I'm sure that our friendship will hurt for this." I don't know about that.
No.
I feel like I had started to win some of his friendship back and just being nice to each other when you see each other. And that took a while. I hate that because I've lived through that in my career for 12th place in Xfinity. I've fought. I've roughed people up. I've gotten into people. I've wrecked Justin Marks, his car owner. So it's not lost on me that I can make some of the same mistakes. It's just staring down a Cup Series win. I couldn't let it go.
and that's the correct mentality.
Yeah.
If you're staring one down, don't let it go.
In post-race interviews outside of the infield care center after he was checked out and cleared, A.J. Allmendinger said this, quote, "At the end of the day, we all have to look at ourselves in the mirror. If you're okay with it, you're okay with it. Each person's different. I was doing everything I could to try and sweep the weekend." Remember, he got the Xfinity Series win. He said, "We were just that close. We know we had a shot to win the race."
Yep. They did, for sure.
I think he took it really from the proper angle.
He did.
You know, because he's in a situation where he's going for a win. He knows that Ross Chastain, heck, he knows Alex Bowman's going for the win.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and we've noted differences between a situation where you're going for a win and you rough up and you get somebody loose and, yeah, they may end up wrecking. That and the difference between, driving through somebody for a win. Witness Austin Dillon winning a Daytona 500, but literally running through Eric Almirola to get it.
Yeah.
There is a difference.
Big difference.
And then there's that situation that you and I still don't really agree with. Bubba Wallace lost a wheel during the race last Sunday, and as we know, that's a big no-no for 2022 according to NASCAR rules. Here's where we've got the problem. Officials within NASCAR have hit Wallace's crew really, really hard. Robert Booty Barker, who's the crew chief, he's been nailed with a 4-race suspension. Okay, I can kind of understand that. You're trying to make sure to mitigate the loss. You want to hit them hard. You want to make sure that they do what they need to do. Here's where it gets weird. 4-race suspensions were also handed out to the rear tire changer. Kind of see that one. He's responsible for the wheel not being on there enough and falling off. But they handed it to the jackman as well. Still don't get the jackman suspension.
I'm pretty sure that I saw this through Bob Pockrass's social media where someone was asking him that question.
Yeah.
I can't believe I'm actually saying this, but he actually made a valid point.
Okay. Hey, any explanation works for me. I want a valid explanation as to why.
He made a valid point, but it's not 100% confirmed. I'll say that.
Okay.
The reason that the jackman is suspended because the signal to go and leave the pit area is when the jackman drops the car.
That's true, but otherwise he doesn't really have a whole lot to do with the tire.
But if I'm crew chief in the car, take me out of the driver's seat. If I'm crew chief in the car, Steve's a tire changer.
Mm-hmm.
John's a jackman. Do we actually seriously think John's going to leave the car on the jack post and go and say, okay, boys, did you tighten your tire? 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 No, and I'm sitting on the pit box screaming, for the love of humanity, drop the car and let him go.
Exactly.
No, he's not going to do that.
Because the idea is to get in and out of the pits as fast as you possibly can.
But one thing that I think they need to start looking at, you can't repetitively, 6 weeks in a row now, 6 weeks in a row,
Yeah.
have a car that has a tire fall off just randomly out of nowhere because it's one on, one off.
Yeah.
One on, one off. You don't have this problem in IMSA. You don't have this problem in Indy. This is me talking.
Go for it.
I think there's a manufacturer defect somewhere in these lugs because you just don't randomly see them pop off like this in any other one-wheel lug sport.
There's a part of me that wants to say there's a growing pains issue here because they're just not used to it. But at the same point in time, yeah, I mean, they've known this was coming. They've been practicing with this for a very long time. But I agree with you. In your scenario, you're the crew chief, John's the jackman, I'm the tire changer.
Mm-hmm.
John's job is to be watching, and if I put myself in the rear tire changer, he's got to split his attention. So he's in the middle of the car, he's looking at both the front and the rear tire changer. If I pull, feeling like I've got that lug secure, if I pull that wrench away, that tells John I'm done. I'm not looking at him and giving him a thumbs up. His cue is when I pull that air wrench away from the lug.
I'll even go this far. Instead of having to look and use your peripheral vision to see on both sides, you're listening for that.
Yeah.
Because when you have that, it's off and you're back on the
Yep.
you're hit. It's locked.
Yeah.
That should be your signal. It's locked.
You're listening, but you're also using that peripheral vision. And once you see, if you see that air drill coming away, you know that I'm saying I'm done.
Yeah.
John hasn't got control over that.
Right.
Okay. He sees the rear one done. He sees the front one done. He drops the car. It's on me as the tire changer if I didn't get that lug tight. It's not on John.
Correct.
It's not on John.
Correct.
I don't know.
I don't either. Oh, boy.
Let's go on to some better news here. Yeah. For those of you checking out CRN Live on YouTube, you get a picture of this as well, where Front Row Motorsports continues to add sponsors through the 2022 season. We thank jayski.com for the picture here. Generally, I got to give Front Row Motorsports credit on this. They're bringing in names that have not been in NASCAR before. For example, their latest is Rhino Systems. They got their main product. You may have heard of it. It's called Navage Nasal Care. The number 34 Ford Mustang, as you'll see again on CRN Live on YouTube, driven by Michael McDowell, featuring the new sponsor S Primary this weekend at Richmond. And for 3 more races this spring, Martinsville, Dover, and Darlington. So all really in rapid-fire fashion, they're going to get their sponsorship in. But as we've said before, congratulations to Front Row. They're picking up sponsors that have never sniffed NASCAR before.
And good for them on their part because they're probably able to work in some kind of a deal to where it's affordable to get them in.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. Could we find ourselves continuing long-term at COTA? We'll find out. Last weekend's triple header at NASCAR for the NASCAR weekend at Circuit of the Americas, the second year of an initial 2-year deal with the track. Speedway Motorsports Incorporated operates the race. rents Circuit of the Americas for the weekend effectively. Track officials reportedly have agreed to extend the deal for one more year. Now, the initial deal was for 2021, an option for 2022, which obviously was picked up. Goes for one more season under the original terms, according to the Austin American-Statesman newspaper. Last Sunday's Cup Series race, the Echo Park Automotive event sponsored by them, expected a crowd of about 50,000 people in the stands. Far from a sellout, as you noted. Mm-hmm. We talked about it on race day, how the stands seemed a little sparse, but that's what they expected, and apparently it was enough to impress both officials with Circuit of the Americas and SMI. Okay. SMI's chief operating officer, Mike Birch, told the paper, quote, "We feel confident enough to take ticket renewals for next year. It's a good sign that we want to be here. We feel pretty good. We're going to be back." Okay. Open it up.
But yeah.
I mean, we know, based upon the numbers from last year, Circuit of the Americas can hold a whole heck of a lot of people. They hosted 400,000 people on Formula One weekend last year. You can't tell me you can't find 100,000 people that would be interested in going to a NASCAR race. At least the Cup Series race.
Yeah. 50,000? 400,000.
And we're not saying all 400,000 were there on Sunday of race day.
You know the track can hold it.
But yeah, you know the track can hold more than 100,000 people. Why aren't you opening it up?
I don't
Get
know.
it out there. Something's
Don't
out there.
know.
Speaking of tracks, let's go ahead and take an opportunity here before we take a break to recheck in with Grady Sapp from 95.1 The Mountain. He's out at Talladega Superspeedway, and you're thinking to yourself, race weekend's still a couple of weeks away. Grady, why are you at Talladega Superspeedway this weekend?
Well, I'm out here just because it's a great place to come, one. But
No doubt.
we've got track laps for charity going on today from 9 until 1 here at the Talladega Superspeedway. And it is the Talladega Garage Experience open house today as well. Big Bill's is going to be open. They're going to have the kids zone and the play zone open today. Also, you can get your picture taken in Ruhoff Mortgage Victory Lane and with the Vulcan Trophy, the iconic Vulcan Trophy. But here's the charity part and the really cool part, too. You can come down for a $50 donation per vehicle. You can drive your car, your vehicle, around the 2.66-mile Talladega Superspeedway. They're going to take you around basically around Interstate Plus speed, and you can experience the track for yourself. And look, you've been to races here, you've sat in the stands, you're going, well, I mean, I know what it looks like, and I know you don't. The perspective from driving around it is unbelievable.
Absolutely.
And for $50 a vehicle, you can do that today. So I would encourage everybody to come on down and experience it here at the Talladega Superspeedway. It's going on from 9 until 1, guys. So plenty of time for folks to get on out and get down here today. All the way between 9 and 1, you can hang out at Big Bill's. It's open. They're going to have all kinds of stuff going on here. I haven't been able to get the mountain truck out on the track. They have blocked off the entry to the track with some safety trucks, and now they've got me blocked in with the pace car, the Camaro here in front of the truck. So, heck, I can't get out and get on the track. I don't know what's up with that.
I got faith. I bet you could move that Camaro if you really wanted to.
Yeah, I think this Dodge four-wheel drive would probably move that right on out of the way.
I know it would.
I'm not sure about the whole forgiveness and permission thing on that. It
well,
might be a little problem.
Yeah, there is that situation. Next time we talk to you, we want to talk to you a little bit more because you're in the Big Bills area, right?
Well, I am actually right here where people are going to be driving in. I'm right next to Pit Road, right behind, just past the Xfinity Garage, and right here kind of behind the Media Center Pavilion. So I'm right in here today,
Okay.
and that's where I'm going to be. I'm going to make my way down to Big Bill's in a little while, but I'm kind of hanging out here right now.
Okay, well, we're going to talk to you about the Big Bills experience because you mentioned this. If you sit up in the stands, you get to watch it. It's really cool. If you've never been down into that infield area where Big Bills is, you'll be in for a treat, and you're not going to want to miss it. So we'll talk about that when we talk to you again next time, okay?
All right, sounds good, guys. Talk to you shortly.
All right, so we talked about COTA and NASCAR. Hopefully, they say they're going to be back there. Darlington, meanwhile, Darlington Raceway and Cookout Restaurants have signed a multi-year deal to their entitlement for the famed Southern 500. Now, Cookout's one of the fastest-growing chain restaurants in the United States. It's also the official quick-service restaurant of Darlington Raceway. So there you go. The race is officially the Cookout Southern 500. It kicks off the 2022 Cup Series playoffs. Later in the playoffs at our home track, where Grady Sapp is right now, Talladega Superspeedway, they have extended a partnership deal with one of Matt's favorite sponsors, Yellowwood. The deal continues the race, and it will continue to be known as the Yellowwood 500 through the 2024 season. This year, the race takes place October the 2nd. Continues a partnership that actually began back in 2020.
Yeah, 2023 edition is going to be real fun.
It should be.
Because it's to the scheduling folks at NASCAR, thank you, because you're going to have it scheduled for what will be my 12th wedding anniversary. So
perfect
thank
timing.
you.
Perfect timing.
Great timing.
Last night at Richmond Raceway, Ryan Newman.
Don't say it, John.
Ryan Newman, yes, we're talking about the same guy who is the 18-time Cup Series race winner. He was racing the Whelen Modified Tour race last night. The 2008 Daytona 500 winner has no Cup Series ride this year. He's hooked up with a new team in the Whelen Modified Tour, which is SS Racing, owned by former NASCAR racer Hermie Sadler and Virginia State Senator Bill Stanley. Drove their number 39, a well-known number to Newman. Mm-hmm. Newman's got some 30 races under his belt in the Modified Tour in his past. He's no stranger to the division or the performance. He's actually claimed 4 wins in the division, 2 wins each at New Hampshire and Bristol Motor Speedway. So I don't know how he did last night.
He finished 13th.
There you go. As we noted here on the show last week, Circuit of the Americas was the qualifier for the Xfinity Series and the Dash for Cash series of 4 races. The drivers who head into today's race with a chance at a $100,000 bonus, COTA's race winner, obviously, A.J. Allmendinger, along with Austin Hill, Sam Mayer, and the driver who won 3 of those bonuses last year, Noah Gragson. Gragson was kept from getting all 4 bonuses by his Junior Motorsports teammate, Josh Berry. Xfinity Series qualifying is wrapped up. Who's on the pole? Or should we ask?
I'll give you 2 guesses, and the first 2 don't count.
I'm going to go Ty Gibbs.
Yep.
There you go. Who's he joined by on the front row?
John Hunter Nemechek.
That's right, too. He's running Xfinity this week.
He's driving the 18 car this week.
Okay. All right, let's take a look and see where our 4 bonus babies are. A.J. Allmendinger?
And I think AJ was like 12th. I'm waiting on to see an official starting lineup. They're still waiting to post it.
Okay. Well, we know who's on the front row, so that's the big and important
thing.
We
do know who our 4 DNQs are.
Uh-oh.
Yes, we actually are sending cars home this year.
Yeah, there you go.
It is. Come on with it. The 4 DNQs are Dylan Bassett, Matt Mills, Harrison Rhodes, and Howie DeSavino III.
Howie was trying to make his debut this weekend.
It's what happens when you put up
the Xfinity
38th fastest time.
That's not going to cut it. He was supposed to try and get in there for Alpha Prime Racing. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
SS Greenlight Racing has announced that they purchased the owner's points of the number 92 DGM Racing entry and have assigned those points to their own 08 entry. DGM announced on Monday that they were going to scale down to a 2 full-time car race team, with the number 92 becoming a part-time 3rd car. The 08 has qualified for 2 races, both of them with David Starr driving. And prior to the deal, they were sitting 42nd in points. This deal, now with the assigned number 92 points, jumps them up to 24th in owner's standings on that car. So it helps the team out, as they had announced that David Starr was set to drive the 08 Ford Mustang in 28 of the 33 races this year. DGM didn't enter the car for this weekend. They were concentrating on the number 91 to be driven by Mason Massey, and the 36 to be driven this weekend by Alex LeBay. Their 2 other drivers, Kyle Weatherman and road course ace Preston Pardis, who drove for them last weekend at COTA. Mm-hmm. And then there's the interesting thought of whether or not Junior Motorsports will get into Cup Series racing as a team. Well, they talked about it again. Kelly Earnhardt Miller, Junior Motorsports co-owner, Kelly Earnhardt Miller, talked to NBC Sports this week, stated that there is still an interest in forming a Cup side to their operation, but she reiterated that the timing needs to be right. As a whole, she said that forming a Cup team has been considered, talked about, but she acknowledged that there are several hurdles, most notably acquiring a charter, which we talked about this during the offseason. It's only gotten more expensive because so much more interest from so many new operations. Another hurdle would be having Rick Hendrick having to divest himself because he's actually a part owner of Junior Motorsports, and NASCAR rules state that one person cannot have ownership interest in more than one Cup team. She added this, quote, "It's all about timing. What's going to make sense? So are we thinking things through from last year in terms of the new car?" Obviously, that kind of propelled our thought process on that barrier of entry and what we thought would be more competitive. It's really all about the timing. I don't like to rush things. I feel absolutely 100% feel good about this. I'm ready. If I'm ready to pull the trigger, if I have any kind of reservations, though, I'm ready to go through this and make sure that I do my due diligence. This is pretty much what you talked about earlier. So this is pretty much what we understand is the case for Junior Motorsports.
Yeah.
They're going to take their time. The weird thing is you're looking at Dale Earnhardt Jr., who's in his mid-40s.
Mm-hmm.
Kelly Earnhardt is within a couple of years, give or take. I don't know exactly how much older she is.
Right there at it.
Somebody put out the headline earlier this week that Dale Earnhardt Jr. has missed his opportunity and he's too old to become a Cup Series owner. You're an idiot. I'm just going to put it out there. You're an idiot.
Whoa. Too old to become a Cup Series owner.
Yeah, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
That's got to be one. And I mean, I've done news in my radio career. That's one of the dumbest headlines I've seen ever.
How old is Mr. Penske?
Roger Penske's 83.
Yeah.
And he has how many cars in his stable?
75.
Yeah. I mean, he's got a ridiculous number of cars that he
Stupid
owns as a
amount.
race team owner. Rick Hendrick's in his 70s. Joe Gibbs is right around 80. Joe Gibbs was in his 50s when he began Joe Gibbs Racing. Stop it.
Right?
Just flipping stop it. As a matter of fact, let's do this. Let's bring in another guy who knows racing. He's out at Talladega Superspeedway. Let's talk to Grady Sapp about this for just a second. The headline, you just heard it. Dale Earnhardt Jr., too old to begin a Cup Series operation. An absolutely inane headline in my mind. Grady, feel free to disagree if you want.
Oh, I think that's crazy. He's not too old. What is he? He's in his mid-40s?
He's in his
not too old to
mid-40s.
become a Cup owner.
Right.
No.
I think he's just not wanting to maybe direct and spend the money in it that would be involved in it. I know down here a couple of years ago he talked about the difference in owning an Xfinity program and in owning a Cup program.
Yeah.
So I don't know that he wants to devote that much time and effort, would be my guess on it. He's not too old to own a Cup team,
No.
though. My goodness. Look at most of the owners.
I think if they looked at the proper, if the proper opportunities came along, they'd be more than happy to do it. But right now, they're doing their due diligence, which I get it. They've got a highly successful Xfinity Series operation. Why split your attention if you're not sure that you're going to be as competitive in Cup as you are in Xfinity?
Yeah, I agree 100%. That's kind of his reasoning on it. He didn't want to overstep his bounds, or so to speak, or their abilities. They feel like they are at the top of their game in the Xfinity. So
Yeah.
if you split that up, then maybe you're not as good in either one as you are in one right now.
Exactly. Well, we know what's good, and that's what's going on at Talladega Superspeedway this weekend. You get the chance to take your car out on the track for a couple of laps, but you also get to go around the infield, and that's where I want to kind of concentrate on this situation. Your $50 benefits the Boys and Girls Clubs of Central and East Central Alabama, so it's a great cause, but they get to go in and around Big Bill's Garage. And if you've never been there, Grady, kind of give them an idea of what to expect.
Oh, wow, big bill. So, they redesigned, did a $50 million upgrade on Talladega Superspeedway back in 2019. So you move the Cup garages over into a different area. They built a enormous facility, Big Bill's, which is a big restaurant. It's got tables, they've got foods, concessions, they've got TVs. And you got the new Cup garages. The top 22 in points are parked right along the side, each side of Big Bill's. So when you're down here for a race weekend, you can come in and you'll be just, feet away from where they're working on the cars and seeing the drivers, seeing the crews. So that is a cool experience, and that's something that every fan can purchase when they buy tickets for the Geico 500 weekend. You can buy that package and get down to Big Bill's. So if you've never been down and checked it out, today's your chance. They're having an open house with the Talladega Garage experience, so you can come by and see exactly what I'm talking about. That is absolutely free today to come down and enjoy the Talladega Garage experience. You can go into Ruhoff Mortgage Victory Lane. That is set up right down here next to Big Bill's. That's where they bring the winner in. You can have your picture taken with the iconic Vulcan trophy that they give to the race winners here at Talladega. So all of that absolutely free. As you mentioned, the track laps for charity, all the proceeds go to the Boys and Girls Clubs of Central Alabama. That's $50 a vehicle, and they are rolling in this morning. I'm seeing Corvettes and Dodge Chargers and minivans and
nice.
pickups and everything you can imagine. So bring your own vehicle down and do it for $50 and help out a worthy cause, guys, and see
Yeah.
the track from a very different perspective.
Fair warning, don't try to pick up that Vulcan trophy. It's real heavy.
Oh, buddy. Tell me about it.
It weighs more than Russell does.
Yes, our good friend and boss, Russell Branham. That's good stuff. All right, Grady, have fun out there, and we want to report. If you end up getting the mountain truck out there, we want to talk about it, okay?
All right, you got it, guys. Have a great day.
You too. We appreciate it. Go out there. It's going on until 1, 2 o'clock this afternoon. Get on out there early, especially.
I will confirm on that statement that he just said. I will confirm this. When it took me, Steve, Russell Branham,
oh my gosh,
and Dennis Worden to pick the trophy up, just to set it on the cart that they move it around on,
it's a beast.
That joker is heavy,
but it is a cool trophy. So
very cool.
Go out there, get your picture taken with it.
Fuel only. Go, go, go. We're back to the Championship Racing Network.
Yeah, for a couple of moments, basically enough to tell you a little bit about what's going on in the Camping World Truck Series. Yeah, they're off this weekend, but that doesn't mean that they don't have news, and it really deals with the upcoming Bristol Dirt Race. Hallmark Friesen Racing has announced Stuart Friesen's wife, Jessica, set to come back. She's going to run a second HFR truck in 2 Camping World Truck Series races this year. She's going to drive the 2 dirt races, as it turns out, Bristol and Knoxville, April 16th and June 8th, respectively. She will drive the number 62 Toyota Tundra with Tripp Bruce as her crew chief in both of those events. And then Kyle Busch Motorsports says that they are expecting to bring in a new driver for the upcoming Bristol dirt race as well. Toyota Racing Development standout dirt racer Buddy Kofoid. He's going to drive the number 51 Tundra on April the 16th. Kofoid is your 2021 USAC Midget National Champion. Got 6 wins last year, added another 9 wins in the Lucas Oil National Midget Series. He's also been working on his asphalt program, he said. He's ran just last year 10 late model races, including gaining a top 5 in the All-American 400 at Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway last year.
Yep.
20-year-old California native bested no less than Kyle Larson in the A feature on Chili Bowl weekend as well. That doesn't hurt when it comes to your visibility.
Right. I mean, he's a heck of a little midget racer, no doubt, for sure.
So he's going to get a chance to see if he can wheel a Camping World Truck Series race truck with Kyle Busch Motorsports.
Well, considering that truck is the defending Bristol dirt race winner, I would put better than fair odds on him.
I think so, too. Did you get a starting lineup in the Xfinity?
I did. Yes, I did.
All right. So we know that the Camping World, or we know that the Joe Gibbs boys are sitting in the front row.
All right. Row 2, you got Austin Hill and Noah Gregson.
Okay.
And
there's 2 of you, by the way, Dash for Cash guys.
In reverse order, it's actually Noah Gregson, Austin Hill.
Okay.
Row 3, you got Brandon Jones and Ryan Preece in the BJ McLeod Motorsports car.
Okay.
Row 4, you got Jeremy Clements and Ryan Sieg. Row 5, you got AJ Allmendinger and Parker Retzloff in other Ryan Sieg racing car.
So AJ Allmendinger's got some work to do. Sam Mayer, who's the 4th Dash for Cash qualifier, he's got apparently more.
He's 11th.
Okay. So there's your guys who are running for the Dash for Cash qualifier right there.
Yep.
We'll have to see how that works out. As we mentioned, this is kind of a shortened situation, shortened show for us on this particular weekend because our flagship station, 95.1 The Mountain in East Central Alabama, if you're watching us on our YouTube feed or listening to us anywhere on the 95.1 The Mountain app, they are an MRN and PRN, and as it turned out, IRN affiliate. They run Indycar races here on the station as well. And they run Cup qualifying, which guess what? It's about to get underway.
It is.
So we're going to end up bowing out a little bit early here on the show. Instead of our normal 2 hours, we're going to do 90 minutes, and we'll get into our after show, which we invite you to check out. Again, if you haven't done it yet, we invite you to do it. Tell your friends about it. Go onto YouTube, search CRN Live. You can hit subscribe right there.
This has been a presentation of the Championship Racing Network.